Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports, coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and the good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. Of course, you good old boys in Canada. We love you in Africa, the Big C tribe, but there's no one we love more than the good old boys down south, in the land of the free and the home of the brave on a beautiful September the 25th, 2020. Rondo Deportes, bonjour, Big C. How's it going for you good old boys down south?
Well, Charlton, one of these bizarre days. Your buddy Donald Trump was down in Florida today, and after he left the state, Governor Ron DeSantis opened up the entire state of Florida with no restrictions, so all the Floridians now can have their fish and chips with a side of COVID. So, but I also want to thank our frontline healthcare workers, our nurses, doctors, first responders. They're not going to give up on this pandemic.
No, and we won't either, Big C. I want to say today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you, as well as a fleet of Cadillac cars. Also, all around the world, just say Google or Alexa, play Big C Sports Podcast. You will hear from our sponsors. You will hear welcome to the show. I will introduce Big C as the Mystic, and he'll do his thing from 3,000 miles away, and I really appreciate the way things are growing with Big C Sports. You can follow Big C Sports on Spotify. You can follow Big C Sports on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Roku TV, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. But you better have a smart TV, or you'll be sitting there looking at a still picture. Man, I'm pausing, Big C. I love pausing so I can get my breath. I've been trying to jog and realize I got to pause a lot more, but I'll never pause on the Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. Big C, why is that so important to you?
Well, Charlton, as we have over 24 veterans a day in this country commit suicide, as well as everyday people in society, Charlton, especially our young people. So many people are troubled right now with this pandemic that's being going on, under lockdown, not having income coming into their house. But our veterans have served this country admirably over the decades, and they're not getting the assistance from our government that they should. Many of our veterans are homeless, destitute, mentally, physically. They have problems. And when you think about that, Charlton, and they don't have a place to turn to, and many of them have turned to suicide. Unfortunately, we give out the National Suicide Prevention Hotline number, hoping to help stem the tide. We need this to become more of a concerted effort of all United States citizens. Think about our veterans, because when they went and served this country with dignity and honor, they didn't ask who you were. They just went out and did their job. And it's the same respect we need to give for them, is give them all the respect and help that we can as American human beings.
Very well said, Big C. 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net, and you can get to some help. Also, very happy to be affiliated with Valley Homes Weekly TV on Dish TV, Direct TV, AT&T Uverse, TV 53, home of the San Francisco Giants and the Say Hey Kid. When you reach out to them, just tell them Big C sent you. The goal is simple: recruit 10,000 real estate agents and brokers all over the country. Put property listings on TV just like car dealerships do it. McDonald's does it. Sports teams do it. And you can watch TV and real estate work for you. 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. If you're looking for opportunities in real estate, go to bigcsports.pacwm.com. That's bigcsports.pacwm.com. I know today's a really big day on a happy Friday in the sports world. You know, really sad, but always gotta thoughts and prayers with everyone who's lost a family member to COVID. Over 200,000 Americans. That's just incredible, Big C. But I want to make sure people get out and vote. Text the word vote. We got 39 days left to the election, but you don't want to wait till the last day. If you're mailing in ballots, you really have like 38 days. Text the word vote to 26797. That's 26797. Get registered. Tell your friends. tell everybody, especially in the swing states, let them know Big C in the NFL said vote. Make sure this is the biggest vote in the history of the universe. Really important. Big C, I want to just ask you something again. You said POTUS opened up the state of Florida, even though there's still some schools that are dealing with spiking cases of COVID. Your thoughts?
No, he didn't open it up. The governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, after he met with POTUS today, put an executive order out that all the mandates in Florida were over, that everything opens up 100%. So he's not caring about the health and welfare of anybody in the state. He is just showing Donald Trump that he can be a good soldier and prove to everybody in the state that he doesn't care if they get COVID-19. He practices social distancing. Trump practices social distancing. You ever look at him at his rally? There's nobody within 40 feet of him.
Yeah.
So, but he's not doing that with the people who follow him.
Wow, that's incredible. I know that people have to do their thing. Before we get on the NFL, Big C's thoughts and the NFL Week 3 games of the week, I want to get Big C's thoughts on that. But I believe POTUS is also down in Georgia, in the city of Atlanta. And you had explained some things to me about Atlanta, how Hartsfield, I think it's called Jackson Hartsfield Airport, came together, the busiest international airport in the United States. He was down in Georgia. It's funny how you said this just yesterday. And I thought about it as we were talking. We'll get to the games in a bit. But you were saying, what president has laid out what he's going to do for you? And I said Lyndon Johnson with the Voting Act. Would you believe today, I heard Donald Trump say, after you just said that on the program yesterday, for the first time in my life, Big C, I heard Donald Trump go down to Georgia, very progressive black city, and he had an agenda for black economic power. And he's waited until 39 days or 38 days before he's kicked out of office to unveil it, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, that's no different than him, saying he signed an executive order to create pre-existing conditions that insurance companies can't turn you down. An executive order means nothing. It's not the law.
Right.
You can't enforce an executive order in the court. And so you already have pre-existing conditions covered under Obamacare. Why would you eliminate it if it already exists?
Exactly.
You want to rename something. You want to wipe Obama's name off of everything.
Yeah.
But for him to say that finally, after 4 years, he's put together an economic plan for black people because he needs you to vote for him, that economic plan, Charlton, is a farce.
Yeah.
Everything that he has stated verbally, why can't he put it in writing? You're supposed to have some of the most brilliant minds in the White House.
Yeah.
If they can write speeches for you, they can lay out this plan.
Yeah.
For 10 years, the Republicans have said they're going to replace and repeal Obamacare. But they've never come up with anything in 10 years to replace a medical insurance that all Americans can afford. How in the hell are you going to have an economic package put together for black America? You only went to one city.
Yeah.
And he's spoken about he's had an economic package. Just like he said he's going to make Juneteenth a national holiday.
Yeah.
It takes the Congress to do these things. So everything that the president is talking about, that he puts together an economic package for black America, I don't know if people are unintelligent or what, but it takes Congress to pass these things. All the presidents ever do is sign an executive order.
Yeah, it's amazing he went down. I think I was watching Malcolm X the other day. I've read the autobiography of Malcolm X many times, but just watching the movie Malcolm X with Denzel Washington, produced by Spike Lee, and he had this slogan in there, but he said, "You've been hoodwinked, you've been bamboozled." And I thought about that as POTUS went down to meet with some black pastors. They talk about separation of church and state, and he said he went down and met with some black pastors who count on God.
Well, think about this,
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to cut you off, but
sure.
this is very important.
Yeah.
Why are you meeting with pastors and they have nothing to do with the economic
Exactly.
situation of the city?
Wow.
You meet with the mayor. You meet with the governor.
Yeah.
When you're talking about putting together an economic package, pastors run a church.
Yep.
The mayors run the city.
Yeah.
The city council runs the city. They're the ones who implement the budget and financial packages for the city. It has nothing to do with the pastor.
Yeah.
They oversee their congregation. You have to go to the political leaders of a city if you have an economic package. That right there lets you know that he was lying.
Yeah.
This is what I said before. When Joseph P. Lowry went to Hart, who was the mayor of Atlanta years ago.
Yeah.
When they got black police officers hired, he said, "I can guarantee you 10,000 votes if you hire police officers."
Yeah.
So now he's wanting to go to these pastors saying, "Get your congregations to vote for me, and once they do, then I'll put together an economic economic package
Yeah.
for you? Why can't you show us the economic package? The same as I said last night. No one has addressed what they will do for black people.
Yeah.
Donald Trump, even saying he has an economic package, is not addressing what he will do for black people. Is Atlanta the only city that has black people?
Yeah, he went to the most progressive, but he won't tell you what he's done. He said he's going to tell you what I'm going to do. I just need another couple more years to do it. They didn't show how small the crowd was. I guess the congregation showed that they must have had about 200 people. And many of those black Americans don't know that COVID-19 has affected our group more, and they were not wearing masks. So before we get on to Big C's NFL Game of the Week, when POTUS visited, stomping for black support, he did not bring up the Central Park Five, where he called for 5 innocent black men to be sent to the death penalty. He didn't bring up the Trump housing discrimination lawsuit that happened in New York City, brought on by the Justice League for not renting to black Americans, even those pastors that were dumb enough to sit there and sing hymns with them. He wouldn't rent to them either. He didn't bring up the stop and frisk of black Americans, where he's asking law enforcement to stop and frisk black Americans. A lot of those pastors have been racially profiled or even stop and frisk as they were singing hymns for POTUS. He also, Big C, think about this. He only has 2 black Americans in his administration, Ben Carson and Jerome Adams, and he insulted civil rights icon John Lewis, who's done more to help black equality, especially in the South, than Adams and also Carson. The birtherism that he brought up about a black president, Barack Obama, causing hate mail and death threats to the Obama family, and those black pastors are down there singing hymns for him. And finally, Big C, when he tells police officers, when you arrest them, rough them up, he's talking about the people who look like those black pastors as they're singing hymns and hollering for him. He also told suburban housewives, when those black pastors move into your neighborhood, be afraid, because they're going to drive down your property values. Actively engaging in voter obstruction with Mitch McConnell like a pimp. He showed up promising money. He did not deliver. Over 4 years hasn't done it. Does not wear a mask. COVID-19 claimed over 200,000 Americans, and mostly black. But you have some black pastors saying that God is going to give us a better life someday. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to take the side of the black pastors in this situation, Charlton, because they'll go there and listen to what he has to say. But you got to understand, those black pastors have lived the life of John Lewis. Because John Lewis has allowed them to get where they are in the city of Atlanta and the state of Georgia.
Yeah.
And as I stated before, he didn't ask the political leaders to come in.
No.
When you think about Keisha Lance Bottoms, the mayor of Atlanta, she wasn't there. So when you talk about the city council of Atlanta, I think all but 2 members of the city council of Atlanta are black, Charlton. So they weren't there. You didn't see Martin Luther King Jr. III. He was not there. So as you talk about the people that were there singing hymns, and people will go and let you say what you got to say.
Yeah.
But and the best thing about letting somebody say things is that you allow them to lie to you face to face.
Yeah.
So there's no discretion of later on how you have to deal with them. It's no different than when he went out and said Black Lives Matter was a terrorist group. He said Atlanta's the most progressive black city in the southern part of the United States.
Yeah.
So he probably did not even address the Breonna Taylor situation in Louisville, the verdict that came down. So I'm going to praise these black pastors and members for going in there and listening to him, because the way you address a snake is to know where it is. You don't want it to be coming out from under the bushes and biting you. But if you see where it is, then you know how to address it.
That's funny. I didn't understand that you knew so much about snakes, Big C, but I'll take that advice if I hear the hiss of one. Final thing before Big C's NFL, Trump and his wife were booed when they tried to pay respect to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and the crowd was chanting, vote them out, vote them out. So a lot of people, when it's not his base and contrived, then oftentimes people realize he's just a liar. And it upset my stomach to hear that. I want to touch on the NFL, and I don't know about you, but I'm very excited, but I kind of feel guilty excited. Like that, have you had some chocolate cake, it tastes good, but you know it's not healthy for you, especially when you had the third bite like I had last night, Big C. But I want to get on Big C's NFL. Week 3, there's a lot of good games coming, and I want to get your thoughts. The Bears, they're 2-0 at the Atlanta Falcons. They really need those pastors to pray for them. 0-2, that's Sunday, 1 o'clock p.m. East Coast time on Fox Sports. And the Falcons are favored by 3, and I hope they can at least get 1 win. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, I like the Falcons in this game. When you think about the Falcons' offense,
Yeah.
this offense is lightning hot. I mean, they can score points at will, seems like. The problem for the Falcons has been that they're giving up 40 points a game defensively. But the Bears are not that high-powered of an offense. So if the Falcons are going to get healthy and get into that winning column, they need that game this week because they can't afford to lose 3 in a row because Dan Quinn won't make it to Halloween.
Yeah, Arthur Blank might say, hey, we got openings down at Home Depot. The Falcons got to stay out of 3rd and long. Todd Gurley looks like an upgrade to Devontae Freeman. I'm really looking for it. If it was a Bear and a Falcon in real life, I know the Bear would win, but this is just on a football game. I want to also go to 2 more animals on the East Coast. This game I don't really know. But when West Coast teams go to the East Coast, sometimes the body clock affects them. The LA Rams look very, very solid. They're 2-0. They're at the upstart Buffalo Bills, also 2-0, Big C. It's a Sunday, 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff East Coast time on Fox Sports. And the line has Buffalo by 2.5, but that might be fool's gold with Aaron Donald coming to town, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, you got to think about Josh Allen. He's leading the NFL in passing yards. Diggs is leading the NFL in receiving yards. That defense has been outstanding thus far with the Buffalo Bills, but you also got to look at the 2 games they won.
Yeah.
They were within the division against the Jets and the Dolphins. The Dolphins finally got off the snide last night. But you got to look at the Rams also. That defense has been spectacular through the first 2 games.
Yeah.
They beat up on the Cowboys. They beat up on the Eagles. And this is one of the things you need to understand about the Rams. The Rams under Sean McVay are 5-0 when they travel to the East Coast and play in early games.
Wow, and they're bringing that defense. You think about Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, they got to have a big edge on cornerbacks, Levi Wallace, and then Josh Norman's replacement. Think about this, Big C. The Washington Football Club, I really wish they would have just called them the Washington Red Tails. It would have been like the perfect thing, and that's my opinion. But the Washington Football Club, they're 1-1. They're at the Cleveland Browns, also 1-1. It's a Sunday, 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff East Coast time on Fox Sports. And the Browns are favored by 7. But I remember seeing the Eagles fall to the Washington Football Club. And just give me your feeling. Are you buying the Browns by 7 over the Washington team? Big C, your thoughts?
I'm not buying the Browns by 7 because Baker Mayfield is a stationary target.
Yeah.
You think about what they did to Carson Wentz in that game in Washington where they sacked him
8 times
in that game.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield is that same type of quarterback. And this is one of those games that Baker Mayfield does not win that game. I see the Cleveland Browns looking on beyond him. They're not going to make him part of their future if they don't win this game, Charlton, because this is one of those marquee games where when you think about Dwayne Haskins in Washington, Baker Mayfield should be able to outperform him with all the weapons they got. They got an outstanding running game in Cleveland, the best running back tandem in the league, but he's still trying to force the ball to his receivers. I think his receivers have given up on him because he's being selfish, but that defensive line of Washington is legitimate, and I take the Skins in this game.
And you got running backs Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in the backfield, and sometimes you forget that on your team doesn't make any sense. I can't wait to see what happens, at least with the spread in that game. I also want to go to the Tennessee Titans. They are 2-0. They're at your cousin. How you like that? How you like that, Big C? Your cousin, Kirk Cousin. And the Vikings, without Stephon Diggs, who was a menace in the locker room, I guess, for telling the quarterback he's screwing up, the Vikings are 0-2. This is a team that was in the playoffs last year, and they lost to the 49ers. It's a Sunday, 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff, East Coast time on CBS Sports. And the Titans, of all places, going into Minnesota, and they're getting 2.5 favorite. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Ryan Tannehill has been hot. He's been playing up to that new contract that he has.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry hasn't gotten off the side, but the Vikings defense hasn't been the bouncing defense that they've been in years past. Delvin Cook has picked up junk yardage late in the game.
Yeah.
But your cousin only had 113 yards passing last week in that second loss of the season. I see the Titans defense being that same type of defense. Mike Vrabel has done a masterful job with the Titans defense. So I see Minnesota struggling and the Titans coming out with a victory.
Will that mean trouble for Kirk Cousins, or will they just say the receivers don't work hard enough to get open? Big C, your thoughts?
No, it doesn't mean trouble for Kirk Cousins. You got to understand, he's 3 years left on his contract. That first contract he had, $84 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
He signed a 2-year extension. with $66 million more guaranteed, Charlton. So the Vikings are on the hook for $90 million to Kirk Cousins.
Wow.
There's nothing you can do with it. You can't even trade it.
Yeah, well, it's all fair love and war, Big C. The Las Vegas Raiders, they're 2-0 at the New England Patriots. They're 1-1. That game is Sunday, 1 o'clock p.m. East Coast time, kickoff on CBS Sports. The Patriots are favored by 6. The Raiders have not won in New England, I believe, since 1974, if my math is right. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, this game is going to be an attrition of the offensive lines. You know, the Patriots lost their starting center, Andrews. He broke his left finger in his left hand, so he may not play. The Raiders are down 2 offensive linemen in this game. So this game is going to come down to the receiving corps. I know a lot of people want to say Cam Newton will take over the game running. I think it's all about the passing in this game. Derek Carr was very efficient last week against the Saints. Derek Waller had a great game. Just as when you think about Julian Edelman for the Patriots.
He's good.
But Carey is going to have to really step up on the outside for the Patriots. But both teams have outstanding running backs. When you think about Jacobs for the Raiders and Michelle for the Patriots. So I honestly think it's going to come down to the passing game with both teams.
I really want to see how well Cam Newton, if they try to take advantage of Cam and blitzing him, I think it's going to make them pay. Looking forward to seeing Belichick and Gruden. I think Gruden makes more money than Belichick. Big C, that makes sense to you?
Well, you know, there's a lot of people around the NFL that make more money than other people. Your cousin in Minnesota playing quarterback.
He's not my cousin.
Makes more money than, half the quarterbacks in the league, and he doesn't have a win.
Yeah, it's all fair level work. I would love to have his bank account, Big C. That's why I bought my lotto tickets. The San Francisco 49ers, my goodness, these good old boys have not been back to the West Coast since they left to go beat up on the New York Jets. They are 1-1, and they're banged up. They're at the Giants that are 0-2. They're banged up. It's a Sunday, 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff, East Coast time on Fox Sports. The 49ers, without Jimmy G, are favored by 4. And I was saying before, Mullen is not that bad of a quarterback. I think he's better for the Niners than Jimmy G. If they win that, what do you do with Jimmy G's contract? Give me your thoughts on the Niners and the Giants, Big C.
Well, the 49ers will win. I mean, you look at the city of New York, the city of New Jersey.
New
they got
Jersey,
the 2 worst teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
The Jets and the Giants. I mean, there's no way that the Giants are going to beat the 49ers. The 49ers just have superior personnel. The Giants are just happy to be out there to collect a paycheck.
Yeah, they're getting a paycheck. Daniel Jones is going to be under some pressure. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's probably not going to play. Wouldn't make any sense. Nick Bosa's out for the season. So much for that. The Niners still, I think, have better personnel. The Cincinnati Bengals, Burrow has to have his coming out moment. Would you believe they're 0-2 at the Philadelphia Eagles? Also 0-2, Carson Wentz, and then Joe Burrow, Big C, Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff East Coast time on CBS Sports. And the Eagles are only favored by 4.5 over a rookie quarterback, Big C. Your thoughts?
Cincinnati gets their first win of the season in this game. When you think about what Joe Burrow has done in his first 2 games in the NFL as a rookie, no preseason, he's done a masterful job. Last week, and he's had 10 days rest since the last time they played the Browns. And he put the ball in the air over 60 times. So this guy is battle-tested now. He's gotten his preseason out of the way, and he's ready to go. Everybody's talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, and they're blaming the offensive line, for Carson Wentz's struggle.
Yeah.
The offensive line with the Eagles is ranked the 5th best line in the NFC. So it's not the offensive line, it's Carson Wentz. Many people don't realize that Carson Wentz is only 24-26 as a starter in the NFL. He's a sub-500 contract. But the Philadelphia Eagles don't have anywhere to go other than to him. They can't go to Jalen Hurts because then you don't have a fallback plan. Then you can't say, well, okay, we'll bring Wentz back in.
Yeah.
What they're hoping is that Chicago Bears go win 4 or 5 games in a row, and then they're willing to trade Nick Foles, and maybe the Eagles will pick him back up.
That might be something in the making. Would you believe, you think about Joe Burrow, as you mentioned, he threw the ball 61 times, 316 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions for a rookie quarterback that puts it in the air 61 times, and that's pretty incredible. Really looking forward to seeing how that quarterback plays out. The Texans, man, this is a team that was deep in the playoffs last year, Big C, deep in the heart of Texas, down there in Houston, along the coast. They're 0-2. I guess they don't like having the best receivers either on their team. They send them out to Arizona. They're at the Pittsburgh Steelers. that are 2-0. It's time to eat if you're a defensive guy for the Steel Curtain. It's a Sunday, 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff, East Coast time on CBS Sports. But the Steelers are only favored by 4, Big C. You buying that?
Well, when you have a team with the toughest opening schedule of the NFL season, that's the Houston Texans. You open up against the defending world champ Kansas City Chiefs. You open up against last year's MVP Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Now you're coming in Game 3 versus a hot Ben Roethlisberger. I don't think Hopkins would have made any difference, Charlton, in the first 3 games of the season against those 3 defenses and offenses that they've had to face. The Texans will go 0-3 in this game, and the Steelers will move to 3-0. They're going to be chasing the Ravens for superiority in that division.
Yeah, and Big Ben is healthy again. He looks healthy, but they got to release him more. I think they're taking their time with him. I want to go to one more game here. I want to keep it in the Midwest. You have the Jets, the 0-2 Jets. They are at the Indianapolis Colts 1-1. It's a Sunday 4 o'clock p.m. kickoff East Coast time on CBS Sports. Big C, the line has the Colts by 11. You rarely find an NFL team where you have a quarterback in Sam Darnold that they were praising as the next Joe Namath, and they're a double-digit underdog to a quarterback that loves to throw interceptions. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, I think you were praising him also.
Yep.
You were loving him because he was out of the college called USC.
Yeah, the Trojans.
And I guess you see now that he can't play.
Wow.
And so, here's the Jets. They're going to go 0-3. They're just as bad as the Giants. They're trying to figure out which one of those teams that play in the Meadowlands is the worst. They haven't showed any incentive offensively to even try to score when you think about the Jets.
Yeah.
You think about the Colts. Look at the game that Phillip Rivers had last week. Even in the first game of the season that they lost to Jacksonville, Phillip Rivers still put the ball in there for 300 yards. So he's throwing the ball, and with the weapons that he has now in Indianapolis, this will be a cakewalk for the Colts. They will get revenge for Super Bowl III and embarrass the Jets. And this is another coach. There was a movie called Good Will Hunting.
Yep.
And Matt Damon played in that movie.
Yeah.
That's Adam Gates. He's Good Will Hunting for victory that he's not going to find.
Yeah. I mean, you carry a grudge. You're going back to the Super Bowl when they beat them in the Super Bowl back in the day. But Good Will Hunting and watching that out for rattlesnakes, I really like that, Big C. We'll see what happens in that game with the Jets at the Colts. I'm telling you, there's something about the win that the Raiders had on the road that's looking a little bit less impressive. We don't know. But the Carolina Panthers, they're 0-2, and they're at the LA Chargers 1-1. That really pushed the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs down to a 58-yard field goal to win that game or lose that game in overtime. So it's a Sunday 4:05 p.m. kickoff, Big C, East Coast time on CBS Sports. And this Charger team that pushed the Chiefs, they're only a 6.5-point favorite, but that's still a good margin in the NFL. Give me your feeling if they'll cover. Your thoughts.
Well, Justin Herbert gets the game, and he has the game plan all week. It's not like it's sneaking up on
Right.
The Chargers have an outstanding defense. When you think about Ingram and Bosa and Tillery on that defensive line, they can put pressure on any opposing quarterback.
Yeah.
Austin Eckler's played outstanding ever since he was inserted into the lineup last year when Melvin Gordon held out.
Yeah. 2
outstanding receivers in Williams and Allen. The tight end is awesome. I like the Chargers getting, Herbert his first victory.
Yeah, running back Chris McCaffrey expected to miss multiple weeks with a high ankle sprain. And then Teddy Bridgewater might be running for his life against that Charger defense. I think the Chargers are a lot better team than people gave them credit for. Final game before we come up on the Big C pause, and then we'll close out some more of Big C's thoughts on NFL. Big C, you got to love when a lion takes on a cardinal. I really feel bad for a cardinal, but that's in the animal kingdom. In this football world, the Detroit Lions are 0-2. They're at the Arizona Cardinals 2-0. It's a Sunday 4:25 p.m. kickoff, East Coast time on Fox Sports. And the Cardinals are favored by 5.5. They have arguably the best receiver, or at least one of the top 2 on the West Coast. I don't know if the Lions can keep it within 5.5, but it's all fair and love and war. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, you might have to start calling the Cardinals a bird of prey that he's out there hunting instead of being the hunted.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at what Kyler Murray has done with this offense, how dynamic he has been, the Cardinals will win this game running away.
Yeah.
The Detroit Lions have been a team of disarray. You think about being in his 3rd season as the head coach in the NFL. Matt Patricia has 9 victories.
Yeah.
This is, status quo for Bill Belichick's disciple,
Yep.
not to win in the NFL. You're not bringing Bill Belichick along when you hire one of his disciples.
No.
And so, I mean, if Jim Caldwell gets a phone call, you might as well just listen because he had 9 wins in the last season that he coached.
Yeah.
The Lions just don't have anything. You know, this is a team without direction.
Yeah.
And the coach really can't give it to him. You brought him in as a defensive guru to get everybody's outscoring you.
Yeah. You know, DeAndre Hopkins for the Cardinals that Houston let get away somehow has 22 catches already. He has 22 catches in 2 games, Big C. And you look at also the Lions, they've given up 46 second half points in 2 games. That's just second half. Man, they might be in trouble. We're going to take what's called the Big C timeout, also known as the Big C pause. And when we come back, I'm going to ask you about Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. We'll be right back in just a moment. All right, we are back from the Big C timeout, also known as the Big C pause. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the #1 podcast network in the universe, iHeartRadio Podcast. You can follow Big C Sports on Apple Podcasts. You can follow Big C Sports on Google Podcasts. There's so many apps you can follow us. And really to be all over the world, I really appreciate. I want those pastors that pray for Donald Trump to keep praying for Big C Sports. Really appreciate the success we're having. I just want to take a pause, a timeout. I do think it's ironic that you were asking me just yesterday. You kept saying, Charlton, what if any president laid out for you in your lifetime about what they're going to do for black people? And less than 12 hours later, Donald Trump is saying what he's going to do for black people, but he didn't do it in 4 years, but he's going to do it the next 38 days. Mixie, your thoughts?
But my point is, Charlton, lay out. You can talk a strong game. But, you know, if you can put together all these executive orders since you've been in office, over 200 executive orders that you have signed since you've been president of the United States.
Yeah.
Just like you said, you have a health plan. And for 4 years, you've never been able to put together a health plan, but you want to sign an executive order saying that it's going to cover pre-existing conditions if they abolish Obamacare, which already has it as part of the law.
Yeah.
How are you going to abolish a law that exists and sign an executive order to take the place of that law?
Yeah.
You walked in serving lip service to people.
Yeah.
You haven't walked in. You've had 4 years to put it in writing what your plan is for economic change for minorities in America.
Yeah.
But you won't address that you still got all these Hispanic kids locked in cages all around the country, that you're deporting them. You won't protect the DACA citizens here in the United States, kids that were brought here as minors by their parents, you know, well over a decade ago. You're not addressing those things. So to believe that the lie that he continues to tell, that the voting is rigged and fixed, and that's the only way that you know, he can lose, that you black people are not going to vote for Joe Biden, or you white people or any other nationality people are not going to vote for Joe Biden. You have no choice but other than to vote for me, because I'm the only one who can be a dictator in America.
Yeah, it's crazy. I guess if you sell it to the black people, then you can polish it up for the white people. When he talks to black Americans, he wants to talk to pastors. When he talks to white Americans, he wants to talk to the Senate. Big C, think about this game. It has so much writing on the walls. You know, it's tough to win up at Denver just because of altitude, but maybe not this year. The Buccaneers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're 1-1. They're at the Denver Broncos. You know, John Elway is a heck of a GM, isn't he? They're 0-2 again, Big C. It's a Sunday 4:25 p.m. kickoff, East Coast time on Fox Sports. And in John Elway's Rocky Mountain High, the Buccaneers come in with a 6.5-point favorite, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, you know, it should be easy for the Buccaneers when you think about it, because Jeff Driscoll, the backup quarterback, is going to be starting. Drew Lock is out. Cortland Sutton's out there, their top receiver. You also think about their 2 top defensive end, Chubb, and the other guy is out also. So they should not be able to get a pass rush on Tom Brady, but Tom Brady has struggled up in Denver.
Yeah.
But I think their offense now will be clicking. He's found a mesh with Evans, the wide receiver.
Yep.
We saw what Fournette did with over 100 yards rushing last time. They're going to have Godwin back on the other side. I think the tight ends will play a critical role for Tampa Bay in this game. and Tampa should win by at least 13.
And there's no Von Miller to chase Tom Brady around like he chased around those chickens when he was chasing chickens around Big C, or rattlesnakes or something he was chasing around. Should be a win for the Buccaneers. Big C, this is a game that I really want to see. We have like premium matchups, at least on paper. You have the Dallas Cowboys going up to the Great Northwest. Jerry Jones, they're 1-1 with a quarterback that's player of the week in the NFL that still can't get respect down in Texas for some reason. They're at the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Houdini Wilson, they're 2-0. What a goal line stand against the New England Patriots and Cam Newton just last week. It's a Sunday 4:25 p.m. kickoff, East Coast time on Fox Sports. There is no 12th man, but the defense has been playing well enough. The offense for Seattle is great. The Seahawks are favored by 5.5. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, the defense, they lost one of their top linebackers last week, Cliff Averill, in the game against New England.
Yeah.
So they have to make some adjustments. Also, two of the safeties went down in the game, so we don't know if they'll be back. A lot of pressure has been on Russell Wilson in the first couple of games. He's played well. He's answered the call, 9 touchdown passes thus far.
Yep.
So this seems to be the right situation for the Seattle Seahawks. But also the Dallas Cowboys have showed that, they have a rabbit, foot up in that Cowboys hat that they can pull out from time to time.
Yeah.
Even though, think about this, Dalton. Here it is, the Dallas Cowboys. They're 1-1.
Yeah.
You realize they have not led 1 minute in a game this year? In their first two games, even though they're 1-1, they have not led for 1 minute in a game. That game they won last week against Atlanta,
yeah,
that was the last play of the game when he kicked the game-winning field goal. So
wow.
They have not led for 1 minute this year in the NFL. So I don't know if the Dallas Cowboys have enough offensive firepower to keep them into the game. You're not going to keep coming back playing against the mistakes that the Atlanta Falcons were making because Seattle has a much better defense than the Falcons.
Wow, that's incredible. They've never led, not even for a minute, until they took the lead with the big field goal down in Texas.
And there was no time on the clock.
And no time
on the
clock.
Led for a minute.
That's very good. I mean, how could you? That's a very good stat. I never heard that before, but that's a really good stat. Big C, 450 yards passing last year. Dak Prescott, probably not going to happen up at the Great Northwest. Another game that has the potential of fabulous football, maybe 5 years ago. You have and then I'm not being disrespectful. The Green Bay Packers are 2-0. I think Devontae Adams he's not going to be there. I mean, it's just going to be, he has some issues whether he's going to play or not, I don't know. But the Packers are 2-0, and the Saints are 1-1. The Saints are not the same Saints that was playing last year, just my opinion, watching them lose to the Raiders. It's a Sunday 8:20 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on NBC Sports, and the Saints are favored by 3. They don't have a lot of home field advantage, but it looks like Rodgers, to me, is playing better football than Drew Brees. Big C, give me your thoughts on that game.
Well, I don't know if people are evaluating Drew Brees properly. He was out without Michael Thomas in that game.
Yeah.
They've had no preseason. He's not used to just walking out there and starting to play. So you have to understand it takes a team like that a time to get wild up. When you look at the receiving core that they have now, these guys, they didn't play together last year, so it's a matter of timing. This is the first real timing that they get. They went out and beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No one has looked exactly crisp in the first 2 weeks of the season. I mean, when you look at 11 teams don't even have a victory.
Yeah.
At least the Saints are 1-1.
Yeah.
People are talking about the short length of his passes. Drew Brees' pass length there's never been a deep pass in the last 3 years in the NFL.
Yeah.
When you look at the length of passes that he throws, the offense is structured around getting rid of the ball early, allowing the receivers in the backs an opportunity to run. Aaron Rodgers has been miraculous in the opening part of the season.
Yeah.
He's gotten off to one of his best starts with a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
But, can that continue? That's the thing about it. The receiving core has stepped up. But, you talked about Adams being out just like Thomas in this game.
Yeah.
They also have a second receiver that's banged up in Green Bay. Adams is going to have to do a big job in the backfield. Well, Jones is, Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
He's going to have to be the big star in this game. It's going to be between Aaron Jones and Alvin Kamara that makes the difference in this game.
Yeah, and I saw the way the Raiders ran over the Saints defense, and it looks like if Green Bay can just watch that tape several times, they may have the chance to get a win down the dome.
But that's playing on that slick turf out there in Vegas. I mean, that grass You have to understand the humidity that builds up on that grass when you bring it from outside in the heat
Yeah.
and you bring it inside where it starts to cool down. It gets a little slick. If you go back years ago when the Texans opened up that Reliance Stadium down in Texas,
Yeah.
and they were doing the same type of surface, bringing that grass in from the outside to the inside. I know the Cardinals do it also, but it's all about the climate that you're in and the type of grass, whether that moisture is going to build up on the grass.
Yeah, and plus being in Las Vegas, a lot of things are slick. Very, very good choice of words. Slick. Las Vegas is slick. They go together. They're very symbiotic.
Well, you think about this. You go to Vegas and you see how you look after 2 nights of being in Vegas. How you get surprised you were the day that you arrived.
Yeah, especially with all the rattlesnakes in Las Vegas. It makes Donald Trump look like a normal person. Someone snakes down in Vegas, but it's all fair love and war. I want to go to the AFC Championship game, at least on paper. You have the defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. They're 2-0 with the great Patrick Mahomes at the Baltimore Ravens, last year's best record in the NFL regular season. They're 2-0 with the great Lamar Jackson. These are two Houdini-type quarterbacks, Big C. It's a Monday, 8:15 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on ESPN. And my goodness, it's a game I really can't wait to see. And the Ravens are favored by 3.5. But it's always one play can change the difference on both quarterbacks. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, who are the 2 teams that had the best 2 records in the NFL last year?
Well, I believe the 49ers and also the Ravens in the regular season.
Who beat both of them last year?
yeah, Patrick Mahomes, Big C.
Okay, so everybody wants to call this a rivalry game. You realize in the last 6 games that the Kansas City Chiefs have played that they have trailed?
Yeah.
They've trailed.
Yeah.
In the last 6 games they've played, they've trailed by double digits.
That's good knowledge.
So let's throw all that other stuff off the table about who did what in MVP until you beat the Kansas City Chiefs and the weapons that they possess. You got to understand, they're only getting better.
Yeah.
You look at the first game that they had, Pat had about 240 yards passing.
Yep.
The last game they played, he had 300 yards passing.
Yeah.
So he's starting to get into a groove. I understand how great a game that the team that the Baltimore Ravens have. They have probably the best defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson has improved himself on his downfield passes. And the Chiefs were exploited last week in running by the Chargers.
Yeah.
But you still got that ace in the hole. This is like playing poker. You know, when you got the nuts, as they call it. That's Patrick Mahomes. If this is a guy, you can talk about how dynamic Lamar Jackson's running game is.
Yeah. Yep.
But Patrick Mahomes picks up 50 yards a game on the ground.
Yeah.
But you forget about it because
yeah.
This game is not as big a game as people want to get up. They want to start to make it a rivalry.
Yeah. We're having a little bit of problem. We're having a little bit of problem with the microphone. I know we're having a lot of weather going on. But you know, POTUS was also down south, and I don't know what type of pixie dust he left on the phone lines, Big C. But go right ahead, sir. Go right ahead.
Rivalry games only count when you play a game and you beat somebody where it hurts.
Yeah.
These teams have faced each other in a game to beat them twice in the regular season. When you go back to games that hurt, that's the Manning rivalry up with
Yeah, we're having a real hard time with the microphone, Bixie. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to clear the line with the microphone, but we'll go right on through. We only have about another 15 minutes to get through. I hope the microphone can clear up. I'll do the best I can on my end. But I understand what you're saying, that the Chiefs, they come from behind the last 6 times that they played, and you got to put them away. You can't let them have the ball in the last possession. There should be some great football this weekend, watching all over this country. And for people that are going out having the chance to eat some food, there's so many great hamburgers for you sports fans out there. Make sure you try the Big C Burger. It tastes ooh-yeah good. It is a tasty burger. It's served with exotic meats only at participating restaurants. You don't know it until you ask. You got to ask for it. It's on most menus. Big C, I want to run down, and I hope we have your microphone cleared up. I want to run down to college football. I don't really know what to think about college football. The Pac-12 starting. I guess they're going to start out later in the year. And then also the MAC, Mid-American Conference, they're going to start playing, I think, in November. And they're only going to play 6 games. The Pac-12, I think, is going to play 7 or 8 games. The SEC is going to start out playing 10 games. How do we figure college football this year? It's like everybody's on their different schedule. Big C, your thoughts?
College football is basically, you're going to look at it like a crapshoot. Who has what?
Yeah.
Who is what in college football? How do you pick a Heisman Trophy winner? If a guy plays 5 games, the other guy plays 7 games, but the guy in the 5 games outplays the guys in the 7 games, is he the Heisman Trophy winner? Is he the best player in the country? And think about it, as you come down to bowl games, that's going to be the Pandora's box.
Yep.
How do you pick teams for bowl games? The criteria in the past, you had to win at least 6 games to qualify for a bowl game.
Yeah.
Bowl games this year will be like participation trophies in Pop Warner football. Everybody will get one.
Yeah.
That's all you can do, because you can't say, well, they met the minimal requirements for victory.
Yeah.
So as we look at college football and it's trying to play its way out, there's been 21 games that have been canceled thus far.
Yeah.
21 games. And the pandemic is only going to get worse. COVID-19 is going to get even worse than what it is right now. So you're going to have to hold your breath to see how many college football games get canceled and who's going to get a participation trophy come the end of the year.
Yeah, but Big C, what you got to look at is these schools are doing this for the education for those children. That's why they're even taking 6 games as opposed to keeping players' health. I mean, what's the point? You got 6 games in the Mid-American Conference. That's more important than player health, Big C. You thought 6 games?
Well, the Pac-12 is on slate to play 7.
Yeah.
The Pac-12. That's scary. 12. So you think about the Mid-American Conference, it's cold back there that time of the year.
Yeah.
When you get to the end of November, early December, you got snow on the ground.
Yeah.
Pac-12, you might have 1 or 2 schools that have some snow on the ground. Utah, maybe up in Washington or Oregon, you might get a little snow on the ground. But, to say that you're going to play 7 games in the Pac-12 conference, so you're 5-2 at the end of the year if you win the conference.
Yeah.
Because they're still going to have a championship game. You're going to go where? You're not going to make the college football playoffs because the Pac-12 couldn't get in when they played 13 games.
Yeah.
They're not going to get in playing a 7-game schedule, especially if the SEC and the ACC have 10-game schedules. There's no way that they could win more games than either one of those conferences. So you're already going to be omitted from it.
Yeah.
And the outside team looking in is the Big Ten. So the Pac-12, why are they playing football? They're going to represent the Rose Bowl, going into the Rose Bowl with a 5-2 record to get there?
Yeah, that might be. I mean, could you imagine seeing an empty Rose Bowl? I've been watching it ever since I was a little boy, but it's all fair and love and war. If they don't expand the playoffs when things get better, then it's not fair for the Power 5 when you got 4 spots to get in.
Every team, Charles, you even think about the college football playoffs. And if you still got restrictions on where these games are being played in certain cities, we know that the state of Florida has lifted restrictions. But if you're already set on sites as far as how many people can participate, if the NFL has not allowed full occupancy in the stadium, how are you going to get fans into these stadiums? You're talking about college football playoffs. Who's going to be flying across the country also to be attending these games, when you're confined to an aircraft?
Yeah, well, think about this. Tonight's game, Middle Tennessee 0-2 at Texas San Antonio. They're 0-2. It's on CBS Sports Net. So whatever money CBS is going to pay in the sponsorship, the schools are going to get that and tell their players thank you. Saturday, Kansas State 0-1 at Oklahoma 1-0. And it's amazing. Oklahoma's 1-0. Nobody even thinks about it. It's on grass. Oklahoma's favored by 27.5. Kansas State have gotten them the last couple of years. How do you feel about playing COVID in a COVID-19 season, and you already expect to get beat down by 27 points? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Oklahoma, this is their second game of the season, but their third game on the schedule because their second game got canceled because of the opponent's COVID-19 breakout.
Yeah.
People have talked about the top quarterbacks in the country. Oklahoma has the top quarterback in the country, a kid named Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
This kid will be the next Patrick Mahomes when he makes it to the NFL. When you watch him, you're going to think you're looking at a young Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
They will abolish Kansas State in this game. You think about Kansas State lost their last game to a non-Power 5 school at home. They don't have the firepower to take it to Oklahoma.
Yeah, and that game is on Fox Sports, so Fox will be paying out a good deal of money to Oklahoma and Kansas State. Number 6, Florida, they're starting the season with Mississippi on the road at Mississippi. That's a noontime kickoff with ESPN. Kentucky's at number 8, Auburn. And then you have number 15, Central Florida at East Carolina. And I'm thinking about, when I look at these games coming up over the weekend, Big C, and I'm trying to find, are there any teams, well, Miami, Florida State's 0-1 at Miami 2-0. And I wonder, since they open up the state of Florida, Governor DeSantis, they'll probably allow at least 15,000 to 20,000 in that game down at Hard Rock Stadium. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, no, the governor said no restrictions, so it's as many people that want to
really
come in, and that went in today.
That's crazy.
So you think about restaurants can operate at 100% capacity. That means a football stadium can operate at 100% capacity. So it's about whoever wants to attend.
Isn't that crazy? That to me doesn't make any sense. But hey, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm the one missing out. Mississippi State at number 5, LSU. It's all fair and love and war. May you college football players have great success. I want to go up to the NBA because last night what I saw, NBA action is fantastic. And Jamal Murray was doing his thing last night until he ran into a guy by the name of King James. And I remember in the Star Wars, and Obi-Wan Kenobi told the stormtroopers, these are not the droids you're looking for. And LeBron said, this is not the ring you're looking for. And he shut down Jamal Murray when it counted the most. An incredible game. The big guys for the Lakers with Davis is something else watching them. I don't think they played their best game, but that guy Murray, my goodness, he's good. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charleston, think about this. How many calls did Murray not get? I mean, look how many times LeBron James knocked him to the floor and Murray did not get their call from the officials. As you say, there's always some shenanigans going on, and this is preset for the Lakers to make it to the finals because they were outplayed once again by Denver. I know the Lakers had beat them in second opportunity points. They had 25. They had 17 fast break points. But when you look at the times when Murray was going to the basket in the fourth quarter and the amount of physical contact that was made by LeBron James to knock him off rhythm going to the rim and no calls were made defensively, you think about this. Anthony Davis and LeBron James took more free throw shots between the two of them than the Denver Nuggets took as a team.
Yeah.
So you got to understand that, as you say, shenanigans go on.
Yeah, shenanigans go on, but also some flopping goes on too. I saw sometime on both sides. I mean, I wish they could rule flopping out of the game. I think it's really been bad for the sport. And let guys play is what I'd love to see. But he was doing his thing, and I really love the way Murray plays. He had a kind of a Michael Jordan-esque style play from his right hand to his left hand and back to his right hand, and he laid it up over LeBron James. So oftentimes when you're the king, you're going to get the benefit of the doubt on the calls, and that's what happens with a lot of players. Now, to me, this is my opinion, and it doesn't matter what I think because I'm not the one guarding them. I think the Lakers, of course, they can they can really lose 2 games, but they don't. I don't think they want to lose 2 games. I think they got better when they're beat them up down inside. When you have the big boys down inside, it's like there's too much for the Nuggets to overcome. The Nuggets have been playing, 7-game series. The last 2 series, they may be running out of gas a little bit. I think the Lakers got to put them away in Game 5 and don't try to push it to Game 6. But I'm telling you, Denver's a tough out. Big C, your thoughts?
They've been a tough out, but like I said last night, they got the benefit of the doubt from the officials. When you think about that disparaging mark at the free throw line that the Lakers had the advantage on, that's a big difference. And that was the difference at the end of the game when you think about the point spread differential in the game. And I know that Denver's had to push each series to 7 games. They've been down 3-1 in each series. So they're not out of the game mentally. They know that they have the ability to come back. It's just going to be a matter of what the officials think.
Yeah, and I think they want to get the Lakers back into the Western Conference champions, and then they'll move on to the NBA Finals. I'm looking forward to be wrapped up, but I just can't count out Denver yet, but I would love to see it wrapped up. And the Lakers, would you believe it? The Lakers, when they have the lead after the third quarter, and this is incredible, they are 52-0 when they have the lead after the third quarter. So if Denver's going to try to get them, they got to get them before the fourth period gets around. I also want to bring you to the game tonight because I was pulling for LA Lakers, Boston Celtics, NBA Finals. But something tells me about the way that the Miami Heat are playing. I mean, they could be had, and this game's already underway. But I would love to see this not end tonight, Big C. But Miami's probably don't care what I think, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charleston, this is all about Pat Riley and LeBron James rematch, what it technically comes down to. You got to look at the way that LeBron James left Miami after winning a couple titles and exiting in the town and going back to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Pat Riley probably felt a little jealousy in that. Both teams are 1 game away from making it to the finals. That's the Miami Heat and the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah.
But think about the matchup that you're talking about. You're talking about that vaunted zone defense that the Miami Heat play. No one gives Eric Spoelstra credit for being where he is.
He's good.
If he goes in and wins this game, Charlton, and makes it to the finals, think about it. This will be his 5th trip to the NBA Finals as a head coach. That's not bad for a guy that really gets no recognition in the NBA. Not only that, Andre Iguodala is trying to make it to his 6th consecutive NBA championship. Only 4 other players have done that before in the past, 6 consecutive NBA championships. So when you think about what the Heat has on the line, they're going to the NBA Finals. The Lakers are going to get there because the officials are going to make it get there. The storyline is going to be LeBron James and Pat Riley in these games, plus LeBron going back against his former coach that he won 2 championships with, Eric Spoelstra.
Yeah, I couldn't say that would be a bad matchup. I just think physically, Miami can handle LA physically. I would still think the Lakers would have the edge because I think with the Kobe Bryant thing and just my opinion how the NBA is all about marketing, they want to have the Lakers hold up another banner. But again, if Pat Riley gets one too, but I mean, we got to wait till the game's over. The games are not decided until they're decided, Big C. WNBA playoffs, the women are also balling. Alyssa doing her thing, helping the Connecticut Sun get past the Las Vegas Aces. And then boxing. Would you believe that there's talk, not that I would care about it, but there is some talk that Conor McGregor wants to fight Manny Pacquiao. So much for why don't we just give them the money and not have the exhibition? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, this is going to occur when you think about.
We're having a hard time with your microphone still, but go right ahead, Big C. Go ahead.
Well, think about the fanfare that Conor McGregor has in the following worldwide that Manny Pacquiao had. They're hoping for a different outcome than what and they would have fight.
Yeah, and I know. Go right ahead. See, it looks.
Pacquiao would be much more aggressive against him in this fight and take him down.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I would probably watch. I won't pay for it, but I'll probably watch it in the NHL hockey. You say the Stanley Cup playoffs, Tampa Bay Lightning versus Dallas Stars are playing in back-to-back games up in Edmonton, Alberta. Hasn't happened since 2009, going back-to-back. And I know everybody has their own thoughts about sports and politics. I just say stay informed. The same way when POTUS flies down south, something happens to our phone lines. It's all fair, love of war. POTUS intends to pick Amy Coney Barrett as his Supreme Court justice, and she is a federal judge in Illinois, and she graduated Notre Dame Law School. Remember, these same Republicans stonewalled President Obama when he tried to pick his Supreme Court selection. But it's all fair and love and war. I think the Republicans are going to lose a lot come the November 3rd elections. But everybody has their own thoughts about sports, politics, and hopefully COVID-19 will not be pushed under the table. But it feels to me like college football is really trying to push COVID-19 under the table when they just want to play 5 and 6 conference games to get some money. Big C, your thoughts?
Dalton, and they've already done that. This is about the economic impact of what happens to the country and even collegiate sports, Dalton. It's all about the money. I know you addressed the issue on the Supreme Court about whoever your buddy Donald Trump is going to pick.
He's not my buddy.
It still won't make a difference. You got to understand the election doesn't go through the Supreme Court. I don't understand.
Yeah, and I'm
not big president. Even in that situation, Charlton, it was about to stop counting ballots. It wasn't about selecting a president. It would say, okay, the counting has gone on long enough. And I don't know if Donald Trump's intelligent enough to understand that the Supreme Court, even if the controversy was to go to the Supreme Court, if he loses, they don't select presidents.
Yeah. Now he's way behind in the swing states and the popular vote. That's why he's trying to get black people to pray. Isn't that something? When he needs something, he asking black people to pray for him. When he wants something, he goes to his white friends in the Senate to see if they can push things through. Final story, and I hope everyone has a very safe weekend. The sports arenas, I really appreciate the sports world. When people say the sports, when they always want to say the sports universe should stay out of politics and politics stay out of sports, they can't say that. Sports arenas and politics, it misses. The voters are rebuking the shut up and dribble from a narcissistic white woman, Fox News Laura Ingraham, telling people shut up and dribble. There are about 20 or more arenas that are opening up as polling places since the Republicans have pulled out a lot of post office boxes and tried to do voter obstruction that, ironically, POTUS didn't talk about when he met with the black pastors today. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, what's going to be a draw with a lot of these arenas, Charlton, when you think about a lot of the citizens would never have an opportunity to grace the inside of some of these sports arenas, stadiums, and arenas. So it's great because you can get massive amounts of people inside that won't have to wait out.
Yeah, and I know
in November. So,
yeah, and I apologize, Big C, but
all these people in the vote.
Yeah, and I apologize. We're having a real hard time here, but I always tell people, no matter what you do, you got to get out and vote. I want to say thank you to the Atlanta Hawks, the Brooklyn Nets, Charlotte Hornets, the Cleveland Cavaliers, Dallas Mavericks, Detroit Pistons, Houston Rockets, Golden State Warriors, Indiana Pacers, the LA Clippers, and Lakers, Milwaukee Bucks, New York Knicks, Oklahoma City Thunder, the Orlando Magic, Philadelphia 76ers, Phoenix Suns, Sacramento Kings, San Antonio Spurs, Utah Jazz, and the Washington Wizards for opening up their stadiums and the arenas to make sure people can vote. Big C, will try to close out as we always do. Back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man, and he would always tell Ali, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young man, rumble. Big C, what are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Well, Charlton, you hope that everybody can stay healthy and stay safe and healthy, and we don't have as many injuries on the college and professional level as we had last weekend. I want to thank our frontline healthcare workers, nurses, doctors, first responders. You're always there to help out people in need.
Always there to help out people in need. Apologize for the phone line, but we got through anyway, even though Putin tried to mess with the Big C phone line, but they can't mess with it every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide. You can follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America, and Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. As we always tell you, there's never, ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that garbage, please pick up the phone and ask for help, because no man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.